Social media. It's everywhere nowadays, and nowhere is this more prevalent than high schools like LHS. With so many screenagers, we here at the LHS Budget decided to try out a little experiment, a challenge per se. We gathered 8 participants and challenged them to see if they could just go 1 week without using any form of social media. That includes Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, the general list of sorts. And the results, I must say, were quite interesting. So sit back and relax as we recap the first, and most likely last, LHS Budget Social Media Challenge. Going into the challenge, each participant had a different story for joining the experiment. Some wanted to test themselves.
I guess social media is kind of lame sometimes. I spend a lot of time on it, and I kind of wanted to see what it would be like, just like taking it out and how it would impact everything.
Others wanted to take a break.
I'm on social media a lot and I could use a break, and while I wouldn't consider myself as bad as probably most people, it's still nice to have that cleanse.
And then there were those who were just simply pressured to join.
A friend asked me, that kind of tricked me into it a little bit. She was like, Julia, would you go a week without social media? Like, could you do it? And I was like, yeah, like a week's like nothing. I feel like I could definitely do that. And she was like, oh great, I'll sign you up for this thing that the budget's doing. And I was like, oh, perfect.
All in all, a pretty good group. As the first day began, many of the participants, unsurprisingly, struggled with the very sudden change.
This morning, it was harder than I realized. I find myself mindlessly opening Snapchat. Like I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just sitting there oh, open Snapchat. I was looking through people's stories, totally aware of the fact that I'm not supposed to be on social media. So I had to move my apps on my phone so my brain couldn't just mindlessly click on it. So that was a little interesting this morning.
I did wake up and forget that this was a thing, and I immediately went onto Instagram to message my friends. And then I realized my mistake, and I have felt bad about it all day.
Some also started to feel symptoms of withdrawal from the lack of social media at their fingertips.
It's going good. I feel a little bit of withdrawal because I haven't really interacted with anyone on social media recently, like today. It's felt a little weird every time I open my phone. I'm like, oh, but there's nothing to do.
Still, despite the difficulties, Addie Welsh, like her peers, hoped that this challenge would lower her social media usage going forward.
I mean, I really hope that I learn not having social media is really great and I don't need to be on it as much as I am. I don't think I could see my life fully without it, but I would definitely like to cut back on it.
Oh, and before going into day 2, I should mention that Annika Maximoff dropped out of the challenge to manage Simeon Moulton's snap streaks, so do with that information as you will. On day 2, participants started to adapt to the lack of social media, with many now feeling a benefit from the removal.
Oh, this is a good example. Instead of being on social media the other night, I just decided to get ahead in my reading for AP Lit. That was just a little thing I've been doing bad at recently, so it was nice to be able to instead of doing this, I'm just gonna read my book.
However, some problems still persisted, like notifications from whining apps wishing that their users come back.
I think it's been easier because I did put all of the apps in a folder and hid it. But the only one that wasn't originally in the folder was BeReal. So I did one time today, I realized there were 40 notifications because I hadn't used it. And so just on instinct to get rid of the bubble, I opened it, but then I was like, oh, shoot. And I immediately closed it.
Overall, day 2 had most of the participants enjoying the positives of the cleanse and found it getting easier and easier the deeper they went.
In terms of positives, I think I'm gonna get a lot more work done, but I'm also, along with that, I think I'm also just gonna build a more healthy disconnect from it. I feel like I spend a lot, most days I go to school and I come home and then I lay in bed for an hour and I'm just scrolling, and I feel like that's not that healthy.
I think it's gonna get easier. I think I think if I were doing this long term, for the span of several months, I'd be even less reliant on social media for communication. But I do think it's gonna get a little bit easier because that urge to flip through Instagram when I'm not doing anything else is just gonna fade.
Day 3 for many was a moment of self-reflection, realizing how much they use social media and the advantages of this distancing.
Definitely less dependent. I really thought that it was like a lot. Like I thought I depended on it so much, but I think that now that I've like realized I have all these other things that I do and I can do, I really don't use social media throughout the day that much. It's actually kind of nice. Like I feel like this like weight off my shoulders has just been lifted in a way.
Along with noticing the benefits, some also remembered the importance that social media had in their lives.
I think it's just, I mean, it's such a quick way to just, I don't know, gain media and just look at something, and it can just be kind of a way to turn your mind off, whether it's from school or work or life, or just kind of take a break. So, and I think from what I've heard, I think everyone's gonna be doing good. I hope everyone's doing good at least.
This has been the worst day yet. I am doing so badly, okay? Since you've last interviewed me, I have had 2 of the worst slip-ups of my life. It has been terrible. So I am the assistant director for the play that's going on right now. I had a question for our costume designer. And our costume designer is someone who I basically exclusively message on Instagram. And so I had a question, and without thinking about it, I immediately pulled up Instagram on my laptop. Big mistake. So anyway, I messaged her the question on Instagram, and then I see that she has like a story. And I'm like, oh, this sounds fun. I better check this. So I click on it, and it's pictures from the walkout that we did on Tuesday. And I saw that, and I realized I had this realization moment in my brain where I was like, why haven't I seen these pictures before? That's weird. Oh, that's why, because I'm not supposed to be on this app. And I felt so bad, okay?
With the weekend just around the corner, some students were at their highest highs, while others were hitting their lowest lows.
I've kind of enjoyed it, if I'm being really honest, and I doubt I'm the only one who feels this way. But I've kind of enjoyed not like checking Snapchat or checking Instagram, and I'll probably read down like Instagram after this, but I'm really questioning whether or not Snapchat is a place in my life anymore. So.
Yeah, I think that I'm glad to a certain extent that I'm doing it, because I think that it's really good for me and like healthy to give myself that break, because I definitely would not have done it on my own. I would not have signed up to do it on my own either. I do, however, miss social media just a little bit. I think I was doing good, and I like didn't really miss it that much until last night. All of a sudden it hit me, and I was just like, damn, like I know that my friends are still like communicating on Snap and things like that, and it's nothing that like it's the end of the world that I'm missing, but yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good, but last night was definitely the hardest it's been.
And others were figuring out how to deal with the lack of social media during the long and tedious weekend.
I think I'm gonna handle it fine. The thing I'm kind of worried about is like, I don't know, like just that like feeling of always needing to be doing something that I was just talking about, of like feeling like I should be doing something and not being able to create dead time with my phone like that. And so I think that's the only thing I'm a little worried about.
Well, I'm probably just gonna be busy a lot, so I won't really have much time, like downtime, to just be scrolling around, probably, honestly. Not because of my amazing self-restraint, just because I'm so busy.
Although the weekend was long and taxing, everyone was able to successfully make it through and resist the temptation. However, senior Abe Roman had to drop out of the challenge due to personal reasons, using social media as an escapism from the troublesome situation.
It was pretty sad. I was pretty upset, and I kind of just needed an escape from like reality, in a sense. And so it was a way to just like disconnect and kind of just like immerse myself in something else, like focus on something else, so that was nice. I noticed that even after I dropped out, I still stayed off social media a lot more than I had been before. Like, I still noticed that I was still barely using it, and I was kind of just chilling still, so that was really nice. I think that the social media challenge is a good idea, and I think that it is a good idea to try it yourself, even if it was just, if you notice yourself scrolling on TikTok, like go take a walk instead, or work on your homework for 30 minutes. And then just notice how much better you feel after being productive and doing something with yourself instead of just kind of being a little mindless. I guess.
With the final hours counting down now, the participants began to reflect back on their week-long journey and their reinvented relationship with social media.
I would like to say less, and like right now I'm going into it like I want it to be less, but knowing me, I'm gonna fall into the same old habit probably and just be on it a lot again. But you know, maybe I'll learn that like if I'm starting to feel like, man, this is really draining me, maybe I can then take that as an opportunity to then take a break from it for a while, you know? But I'll probably go back.
I think it had a pretty positive impact on me. I think the main thing that did is it showed me that I don't necessarily need all of the social media I use, and while I do enjoy it sometimes, it's not really adding a whole lot to my life, and getting rid of some of it definitely is more than reasonable, I think, for me. Though I expect for other people they're going to find they're more dependent on it, not just because they feel like they need it, but because they genuinely use it more. But for me, I don't think I need as much as I use.
I don't think my view has really been changed that much. I think I still see it as both a positive and a negative, and I don't think my eyes have been opened as much as you would think they would be, but I think I'm aware a little bit more.
I think in a lot of ways it's kind of an escape, and I think everyone's social media is different because it's supposed to be tailored to them, but for me, mine is just like funny things, and it's nothing heavy, and it's nothing of like real substance. So it's a lot of the times I go on there just to like take a break from my day, or if I'm having a rough day, it's just like a way to unwind. And I think a lot of people use it like that, and use it just kind of as a form of escapism and a lot of people, what they are in the real world isn't what they are on social media. And so I think it's a really good way to be who you want to be, or be somebody different, and just kind of, I don't know, just take a break from what's actually happening in your life.
It's healthy to take a break, and it's good to give yourself some distance. It's definitely something that you should consider trying. But at the same time, I think it's really important to emphasize the fact that our relationships with social media are not something to like bring shame or like shame someone for. The way that we interact with the world and the people around us has become pretty reliant on social media. And I think that social media as a tool and a resource is something really valuable that we should consider the benefits with as well.
Totally. Again, I think like if people are just gonna do this for the fun of it or for their like the betterment of themselves, I definitely think it's easier to start out with like a reduced social media, or set limits on your screen time, or like cut out the use of some apps, but not all of them all at once, and then slowly work up to that point, because I think it's definitely been a worthwhile experience, even if lost that train of thought.
After the challenge, we tracked everyone's progress to see their social media usage, and aside from Peyton Fowler, everyone decreased to below their average before the challenge. All in all, despite some challenges and difficulties, most participants were able to walk away with a new understanding of the way social media use is affecting their daily life, tying a nice bow on the first and probably last LHS Social Media Challenge. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and now without further ado, I'm gonna go get some sleep because good God did this take a long time to put together. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, I've been Hayden House reporting for the LHS Budget. See you later.